What is going on, you guys? We are back today for episode 2 of Campfire Convos Podcast. I'm here today with Sarah, and today we are going to be talking about near-death experiences and how it has implicated us to be less accident-prone, which is totally a lie.
In your case.
Well, it's kind of a lie because I'm still accident-prone, but you know, I learned my lessons, so. Okay, who's going to go first, I guess?
I can go first. Mine's kind of short.
Okay, sounds good.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
So, I have asthma, very bad, since I was little.
Yeah.
So, I always carry an inhaler around with me. But when I was a kid, I kept my inhaler at the office at my school, right? And one at my home. So, that leaves a margin from my house to school where I don't have an inhaler on me. And if you guys don't know what an inhaler is, looks like this little thing. It stops your lungs from closing in from asthma. So when you have an asthma attack, you have to have that, you know. So when I left to school with my friend and we started walking, I was about halfway from school and halfway from my house. So I was like in between them both. I started having a major asthma attack, which my lungs is slowly closing and slowly killing me. So I had to make a decision, either go to school and get my inhaler there, or walk back to my house and get my inhaler there, and then walk to school. So I was like, I'm just going to walk to school. You know, like, why not?
Yeah.
So I started walking, struggling to breathe, like very badly struggling. And my friend was very concerned, but we ended up trying to trek it, just keep it going to school. And I was really, really struggling at this point, and the school was down the road at this point.
Okay.
So I started kind of like, you know, when you're going to pass out and you kind of start seeing, like, bubbles in your eyes.
Yeah. Like stars,
So I started doing that while walking, and there's kids everywhere, outside the front, and I'm like, oh God, this is not good. This does not look good for me.
Yeah.
So I'm walking, and I just kind of flop down on the ground as soon as I got there against like a light post. I just sat down, and I'm like, I can't breathe, and I couldn't talk because that's wasting my oxygen. I'm coughing, trying to get, like, oxygen in me. And so my friend runs into school. She's like, Sarah's having an asthma attack. You have to get her inhaler. And I was, like, so close to passing out from not having enough oxygen. But the teacher lady, like, ran out, had my inhaler with the chamber on it. She, like, put it in my mouth, and I'm, like, slowly breathing. I'm like, this feels like absolute trash. And I was tired after, and I was exhausted, because when you're having an asthma attack, you have to, like, use your whole body to kind of, like, force yourself to get enough breath in. So I was like, my shoulders hurt, my back hurt, my lungs hurt, everything was so painful. And so that is how I almost died.
Well, holy shit. Yeah, that's pretty scary.
So now I keep an inhaler on me at all times.
Well, my question is, why did the school make you choose between leaving it at home and keeping it with you?
No, that's just how, like, me and my parents did it.
Oh, okay.
So, like, because it wasn't that bad.
Right.
So it was like, meh. Like, I'm not going to have one on my way to school. It's fine. It's at school. It's at my house, which I normally am.
Yeah.
And so I used to leave my inhaler there, and I'm like, meh, it's fine. Like, I'll never have an asthma attack that bad.
Yeah.
But then that happened, and now I keep one on me 24/7.
Yeah, and I'm sure your parents were pretty freaked out.
Oh yeah. I told them about it, and they're like, you're gonna want to keep that on you. I'm like, that's a good choice. My friend was freaked out too. Yeah. Almost died in front of her.
Oh God. Well, the only time I've ever actually seen someone have an asthma attack was my friend Ben from elementary school, and we were all just hanging out in the forest at recess, and we're all just hanging out, and suddenly he just like stops talking, and his eyes go wide, and his face turns like red, and I'm like, what's going on? And he just starts like grabbing his stomach and like heaving, and he had his mouth open like this, and he was like, but nothing was going in.
Yeah.
And we all just freaked out, and he didn't have his inhaler. It was I think it was in the office. I don't know, maybe that was just like a trend or
Kids
something.
always keep it in the office.
Oh.
It's like EpiPens and stuff. It's
Right.
always kept in the office so the kids don't lose it.
Right. But still, why would I don't know. I feel like that'd be like from where we were to where the principal's office was a good like and we weren't tall, like, you know, like we were just
Like
little kids. So it was, we couldn't run that fast, and I think it would have been about like 2 to 3 minutes before we'd actually get there.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know why kids don't keep it on them. But they do lose it. But why don't you just have one in the office, one on you?
yeah.
Because it would prevent asthma attacks and like anaphylaxis. It's like
true. Yeah.
those are the two things that are kept in the office. It's like if a kid doesn't have it right away, the kid's gonna pass out.
Yeah. But honestly, like, as I remember, like, I don't know, kids are wild. Like, I don't know, I know some kids who would just try their inhaler just for fun.
Yeah.
So I could see why.
People would try mine. They'd be like, what would happen if I took it? And I'm like, nothing would happen because your lungs are already open and it opens them. So it just tastes like shit. It just tastes like shit.
It's like steroids, right? Or something like that.
Not this one. The blue ones don't have steroids in them. Okay. It's the other preventative one.
Right.
But the blue one just tastes like garbage.
So that one just opens your lungs. What was the other one do then?
It like keeps the lungs open so it doesn't spasm. So it's keeps them open. That one opens them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So it prevents asthma from happening. This happens so you don't die.
Oh, okay. So that one's more important then.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I keep it on me.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's pretty freaky, honestly.
Yeah, no, I was very freaked out.
Well, my story was actually was only, I guess it was just under 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now. Yeah. I was 20. I'm 22 now. Just turned 22 in July. And we lived in Cumberland, which is like two cities over from where I live now. It's not that far away. It's kind of probably about 20 minutes away from here.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say Cumberland's pretty close.
You have to take a short highway.
Yeah, and so I lived there for 2 years almost, and near where I lived there was a big bike park. Like it was like a BMX track, with all these jumps and stuff. And one thing about Cumberland is people love biking there. It's like a village. It's not very big. It's like a small, I wouldn't even call it a city actually.
It's a village.
Is it a village? Yeah. Then yeah. So it is really small. And so everybody just bikes everywhere. And so there were a lot of people always at the BMX track. And so one day I went there, and I was at the beginning of the track. There's this huge ramp that goes down. It just goes. It's probably like it's not super steep, but it's steep enough that you'll catch a lot of speed.
It's at the front.
Yeah, the front of it, where you start and launch your bike.
That is steep,
yeah,
though. It's hard to get up when you're walking.
Yeah, because you've been there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I took photos there.
Yeah. So I was there one day, and I was feeling pretty good about it. I had a mountain bike, so I'm an idiot. I didn't realize that you're supposed to have a bike without shocks. So lesson learned. So there was like a bunch of 10-year-olds on their bikes, and they were like, "Hey, mister, do you want to race?" And I was like, "Damn right I want to race." Yeah. So I go with them down the hill. They all have their own spots. And I go full speed. Like usually I touch the brakes, but I was like, okay, I can't lose.
You gotta beat these kids.
Yeah, I had to beat these kids. But I was just kind of being an idiot. And I hit the ramp. So the ramp goes down. There's a jump. So I hit the jump going full speed. I catch about 20 feet of air. I kid you not. I was so high in the air that I looked to the right of me, and like the kids weren't even at the point that I was. Like I hit the ramp going like a lot faster than them, and this I don't know, it happened so fast, but this kid tapped my back tire with his bike. I guess he was closer than he thought. I don't know exactly what happened, but next thing I know, I'm not on the bike anymore. I'm just flying through the air, and this track is just like dirt. It's just it's dirt and dust. And yeah, so it's the end of the summer. It was like September 1st or something, and Yeah, so it was still really hot out, and there were some parents watching in the bleachers, and so I hit the ground like my hands first. I don't know how I did not die. So I hit the ground hands first. This is kind of gross for some of you who don't like graphic details. You can trigger warning there. All the skin on my hands was basically gone. I had like a big chunk on here, and I've had mountain bike accidents before, so this wasn't. I knew that was coming, but so it was totally gone. I'm surprised because the first time when I had a BMX like bike accident, or I guess it was mountain bike, a couple years earlier, I had broken my wrist doing that. I just slid on the road and used my hand to brace myself, and I broke my wrist. So I'm surprised I didn't break my arms.
That is surprising.
Yeah, so I was so it all happened so fast, and next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and I couldn't even feel it because I was in shock, but the bike was on my back. Like, I don't know how that happened, but the bike landed on me, like full speed. Like, I hit the ground first, and the bike landed on my back. And everyone in the bleachers just freaking out. They run up to the fence, and they're freaking out. And I stand up, and I can't feel it yet. And they're like, your ribs. And I look down, and it's just my shirt's just completely red. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. So I lift up my shirt, and it's just all through here was just ripped up. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And I looked down at my hands, and my hands are just like shredded up. My knee, there's like a gouge in my knee, probably 1/4 inch deep. And there's just a rock in there. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. And I couldn't feel it. I was freaking out. So, yeah, it was pretty shitty. So and my sister was there with me, actually. She was watching. She walks up and she's like, holy shit. And she's like, are you okay? And I just walked away. I'm like, I'm fine. And all the parents were freaking out. They're like, how did you just walk away from that? And I'm like, I don't know. Can you it was a blur. I pulled out my phone. My shorts were completely shredded. I still have that pair of shorts, and they're just ripped up to shit. And, my sister calls my dad, and he brings us truck. It's like a 2-minute drive from where we were. I was on a street over, so he gets there. I throw the bike in the back, and I'm just and the other thing that happened was my elbow was completely ripped up. That one actually never healed. You might be able to see it.
You have a big scar there.
Fucked up. So yeah, that was my lesson that day. So I get home. And I get in the shower, and I'm just in a shit ton of pain, and I run the water, like I turn the tap on, and I just clean my hands, and just rocks come out of my hands. Like, it was fucking gross. And like there was a big rock in my knee, and like I got it out of there, and it was so painful. And then I took a shower, and I could barely like stand it. And so so we lived in a single wide trailer. It was the middle of summer. My mom was living in Vancouver at the time with teaching, and so she was out of town that week, and so I just for like 2 hours I just walked back and forth on the deck outside, just swearing, and like I couldn't take it. Like, I took an Advil, and it just was not. I'm surprised I didn't like die, because like the way I landed with the bike on me, I easily could have broken my spine, like easily. Yeah. All the parents were just shook when they saw it happen, and like there was no video, but like honestly, I kind of wish there was a video, because it was pretty horrific. And so I don't even know how I was walking, but so yeah, I'm just drenched with sweat in that single wide trailer. It's nighttime now, and like I can't sleep on my side, because like it's completely torn up. So I'm just lying there on my back, hoping I don't die. And like, I didn't know what was going on. My mom was freaking out on the phone, telling me to go to the hospital. And my dad's like, no, he's fine. Like, he'll be okay.
That's a dad thing to do.
Yeah, it's such a dad thing to do. And my mom was like, no, Brent, he has to go to the hospital. And I was like, no, like, I agree with dad, just because like I'm not, I don't have. Like, I don't think anything's broken yet, so, yeah. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and I was in so much pain. I was like, okay, I'm going to the doctors. Like, I didn't actually go to the hospital. I just went into the walk-in clinic, And so I get there and they clean me up with my, like, they just use
saline?
Yeah, they just disinfected it. They're like, you got a tetanus shot? And I was like, yeah, I have my tetanus shot. I'm like, okay. They're like, damn, you're pretty beaten up. I was like, yeah. And yeah, they were impressed that I was functioning after that. So
not broken.
As the doctor said, we just bounce. As she said, you young people just bounce when you hit the ground. So she's like, 10 more years and that won't be the case. So
You'd shatter.
yeah, I'm surprised I did not die. So that was yeah, pretty freaky. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys have your own incidents, especially with mountain bikes. You know, like mountain biking is really dangerous. Like now that I look back, like all the time I've mountain biked in my life, I've probably been mountain biking for, I mean, I'm 22. I've probably been doing it since I was 8 years old. So
I've never
like
been.
14 years. Really? Oh,
I've been too scared because of the fail videos on like YouTube and stuff. People going unconscious, people breaking stuff.
Oh, I've broken
I can't
stuff,
even
yeah.
walk in the forest. I can't bike in it.
Well, it's dangerous. Like it is. You have to be really careful. And there's people in those Cumberland trails, like on the diamond trails, like the really hard. Like, you know how they have the difficulty levels? Yeah, the really hard ones. These guys will just go like full speed down these trails, like flying, getting air, dodging rocks on like $10,000 mountain bikes. And I'm like, and I watch these guys, and it's scary. Like
it's intense.
Yeah, and I'm like you said on Fail Army, like it's easy to mess yourself up, and like I know I'm a young person, and so it's easy for me to say, like, that it's, you know. And you know what I mean. It does have consequences, though. Like it is.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
Yeah, it's not. You have to be really careful. And honestly, every time I've broken something, or, you know, when I did break something and hurt myself, I've always been wearing a helmet, and the helmet did nothing. So, you know, it's.
But you didn't crack your head.
No, I didn't crack my head.
So
every time I've crashed, I've kind of braced myself with my wrist, which ends up
breaking.
I'm surprised I didn't break my arms when I, like, nothing happened when I landed that time at the dirt track. Like my arms were like my buffer. Like I just slammed I'm surprised they weren't like backwards.
Oh my goodness.
So it was, yeah, I was thankful, and it makes me thankful to, you know, get to just live my life normally and
like bounce back from stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, like my friend's dad always says, you have to be careful in sports because you don't want to become a mouth painter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's kind of dark, but yeah, that's the moral of the story is be really fucking careful because shit can happen.
And like especially when you're not like expecting it, like being like, nah, it's good. This time it won't happen. Yeah. We're fine.
And that's when shit hits the fan. Like that's
exactly.
when and I've had it happen multiple times. Like I've, you know, we live in Canada. We live in British Columbia, and here it's like the terrain is so much different than a place like Alberta, even
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan, or flat. Even what would that be like? I don't know. Like some of you guys live in America, like if you live in a place like Oregon or like Washington, or I guess Washington State. Yeah,
Washington D.C.
Yeah, I don't think it's Washington D.C. I don't know. I'm not smart with geography, but yeah, it's the terrain is really bumpy and rocky and ravine-y here. There's lots of ravines, so it's.
Well, that's good though because like we have free healthcare. So
oh yeah.
If you do hurt yourself, you can.
Oh shit! Yeah. No.
You can always just go to the hospital.
That is true.
Show them your health card and be like free.
It's true. Yeah. No. In Canada, you'd be blown away at the things they will just pay for, just to make sure you're okay. Like,
surgeries.
Yeah, surgeries, X-rays. Like when I broke my wrist, like the X-ray they didn't charge me a cent. Like I know a lot of people bash our healthcare system just because, you know, they don't cover drug care plans or dental. Like dental's a big one that they don't cover here. But honestly, like when it comes down to like saving your life, they'll pay for all of it. Like it's In America, I
Don't
think
you have to pay for ambulances?
I think you.
It's like $80.
It's like, yeah, here, okay, in the U.S., I read something. I might be totally wrong about this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was something crazy, like $5,000 is owed if you call the ambulance and you're not covered. Like, but I also read in the U.S., if you have like, it was something ridiculous. Like it's like $1 million a day if you were like in critical condition to keep you alive with all
like the ICU.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
makes sense though.
Yeah,
the ICU uses
yeah.
a lot of expensive equipment.
Yeah, and even when we did at my work, when we do the campaign for Children's Miracle Network for the Children's Hospital, I think it's like one valve for like a little tube is like $10,000 because they don't even manufacture these things. They're just.
But the Children's Hospital pays for everything. Like everything there is covered. Because I used to go there like every 6 months to get X-rays.
Yeah,
everything was covered. Surgeries covered all 6 of mine.
Yeah,
like I'd be so far up my ass in debt if I lived in America.
And in America, like, it's crazy. Like if you, it's just unbelievable the amount of money it costs for health. So if you live in Canada like us, like be grateful because it is, it's not perfect, but like a lot of stuff is covered. So it is nice. But anyways, I think that is probably
that is everything.
Episode. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I really hope you guys enjoyed this.
We'll have more friends next time.
Yes, we are by ourselves in this episode, but we'll have quite a few people in the next one. We're actually going to have a dedicated space for our podcast in February. Yes, we're going to have our own studio, actually, so this is going to be really cool.
So make sure you subscribe.
Yes, like she said.
And like.
Yeah. Okay, thanks again, guys, and take care. Have a great day. Peace.
Bye.